Hi, welcome to the Collectible Show. My name is LaPedis, and I'm your host tonight. I like to welcome my guest, Bill Vizas of Bill's Sports Collectible Store in Denver, Colorado. Bill, thank you for being on tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me, Aaron.
Tell me some cards that maybe I should start looking for right now that are like sleepers that are going to go up in price. Can you advise me on where I maybe should start looking at which cards?
I mean, I'd say you look at like your hometown and see which players that you like and that think might have potential, because you never know. Nationally, people may not think of the kid like Todd Helton that plays for the Colorado Rockies. Nationally, he's just starting to come to the forefront, and he's still relatively underpriced compared to the Derek Jeters and Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey's, because he's not in a big market. A lot of times, like Barry Bonds just hit his 500th home run, and his rookie card, he has, there's several different rookies, but most of them are still fairly inexpensive. And when, Barry Bonds' career's done, he may be higher on the homer list than Mark McGwire is today. So,
did you hear about there's some uncut cards, the whole sheet of Mickey Mantle? Are those more valuable than just several of the cards cut?
In some cases they are, but the only problem with that is display purposes. The sheets are so large that people don't collect them as much, so there's not as much demand. I mean, there's value, but I'd say the individual cards are where the real value is.
We talked about baseball cards, and everybody thinks when they talk about cards, the natural thing to say is baseball cards. There are football cards and there are hockey cards. When did those transpire? When was a big deal to have a great football card?
Okay, football cards, they came out like simultaneously. There were some sets before, in the 30s, there were a few cards, and then after World War II, when Topps started producing baseball cards, they also did football. But they just never caught on quite like the baseball. Well,
so football was, but you still have great rookie cards like John Elway, Kurt Warner. I know, nobody ever knew about his card, and then he came and won a Super Bowl, and his card went from like a quarter to like $100 and up right overnight.
Yep, and I mean, and the football cards are popular, and they're much more popular today. But I think baseball, just because more ingrained and in the summertime, and like part of the reason in the 50s and 60s is because kids actually, in the summer when they had time to play with them, and the football cards came out when they were back in school. So it kind of never had kind of the enthusiasm for it, and it's just kind of kept even with values. Baseball cards still maintain higher values than the football card,
Hockey cards, when did they start to get big?
Something that's been, I mean, in Canada, they've been putting those out since the turn of the century, and they're huge in Canada.
They've been on that long?
Yep. I mean, there's sets that are worth, tens of thousands of dollars, like Patrick Waugh, the goaltender for the Avalanche. He's got complete sets back, into the teens and 20s and stuff. I mean, so it's like they're collected by, but he was grew up in Canada, and so for every kid growing up, it was like a kid growing up in the U.S. collecting baseball cards. In Canada, the kids collected hockey cards. But in the U.S., it's basically, I mean, more since there's somewhat in the 50s, but it became more in the 60s and on up. It grew as, hockey's grown in stature in this country.
Talking about high-level cards that are worth a lot of money, I have something special that I brought here because I knew you were going to be on my show. And this is a card that I think you'd be pretty impressed with. What do you think of it?
That's a card of you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a card of me. I was a great player in my day.
Yeah, Aaron Walker LaPedis. Did you walk a lot?
Yeah, I walked a lot, but it's mainly wasn't in the ballpark. My dad always forgot to pick me up, so I always had to walk home. And I set the record in Little League for more walks home than anybody else. So I got my own card. But that's besides the point. What kind of money do you think this card is worth right now? And I know I'm a big host of a big-time TV show, but hit me with the price.
Geez, maybe a quarter to your mom?
Quarter to my mom. On that note, I like to thank my guest, Bill Vizas from Bill's Sports Collectible, and I want to thank you for tuning on in. A quarter, huh? I'm Aaron LaPedis, and remember, one person's trash is another person's treasure, so keep collecting and have a great night. What happens if I signed it? Would that help the value?
Yeah.